Hello everybody, welcome to Blue Goose Garage. This is the 67 Malibu that I cut up to get the rear section of the frame, the wheel wells, and the seat pan. A couple other pieces too. We're going to take it to the foundry and crush it because there's no reason really to keep this. The firewall's too rusty to use. It's bent. It was bent before I bent it worse. There's some dash pieces I need, the steering knuckles, maybe upper control arms. It really depends. I do know I want the steering linkage knuckles, some spacers that are in the springs because they're old school ones. I don't know if those will actually come out, but yeah, spacers, steering knuckles, a few other things. There's some pieces in here I seen a minute ago that I need that are better than mine. Mostly, and I don't know how I'm going to get them, and I'm sure they're stuck, but it's got cables for the temperature control. I don't know if they're complete because the temperature control is missing. I'm going to try to get stuff like that off so I can fix my heater controls where they'll actually work, and you know, just oddball things. Alright, so I don't know where I'm going to put this in this video. I decided to make this a two-part video because the video was going to be too long for how many videos I have on my phone right now that I'm in the middle of making to do much more than 20 minutes. So if you see anything on this car in this video that you might need for yours and you're local to East Tennessee, you have until Monday. I'll put the date right here. You have until this day to get in contact with me on Messenger, on Facebook, on this, on my email, anything, comments, to let me know, because it's going to the foundry Monday. But you have until Monday at dinner if you need any parts off this car. So I just figured I'd do this because I hate getting rid of something that somebody else might need something off of, but it's going to go. So here's the rest of the video. I mean, it ain't exactly a waste, you know, it's just a 136. It's just a Malibu. That's why we cut her up. It's just a Malibu. And when I'm saying parts that are better than mine, they exist. You know, they exist. Even if part of them are cut in half and missing. Alright. So now I have a driver's side A-pillar molding trim piece. And it's cut in the middle, but it's there. Now, if only I had enough of the other one to put it over there. I only have the bottom half. I'm missing the top part. Might could find one somewhere else, I guess, or use a piece of one of those, but needs to be a blue one, so at least that part matches. That looks better. Alright, so I got the knuckles off, and I'm going to try to get all of these. Some of them are falling out with nothing, you know, but these I'm sure are way better than the new ones you can get. And I'm always trying to lift things. So I'm going to take all those off and then try to get that one out. I don't know how they got that in there. I guess they, I guess they just wedged it in there. I'm going to try to get all of them, and the heater core's got a snowball's chance in hell of actually being any good. But I'm going to take the heater box stuff off for the temperature control cables, because I think there's still 2 or 3 good ones on this. They're just stuck, I'm sure. I'm going to take that stuff off, and the brake proportioning valve, and any other oddball thing I might need. I got to take the 2 bolts out of the idler arm, and then I'd have a spare drag link and tie rod ends. So, back in a few. Alright, so 3 of these, and this one was in the left front, and 1 of the little ones and the big one is in the right front. Now, it's kind of neat to see this, and I guess this is kind of why they did that. That spring's broken. So they either put spacers in that to try to make up for the spring being broken, or they broke the spring putting spacers in it. It's kind of stuff you always end up finding. I mean, I could fix that. It's kind of like the one on my car. It's a coat hook, and it's at least blue plastic, which means if I found another one that wasn't broken, I could take the plastic rubber off of it and put it on the other one. Now, here we got a praying mantis. You see him? Archaeological dig for parts. Yay! Okay, so something I want to mention. I mentioned this a long time ago. I've said this a bunch of times. But in that amount of time, I've gotten a lot more subscribers now than I did when I was doing this kind of stuff initially on my blue car, on my 67. Yes, they sell every bit of this. Yes, in theory, you could buy all the stuff to rebuild the front end on that car. So why would I take the time to take all this wore out stuff off this car to save it in case I ever need it for mine? Well, that's a pretty good question, and it has a pretty good answer. The whole purpose of that project originally was to use everything that I had to build a car. And I did that. Now, I'm trying to keep it going. Which means, yes, I could buy everything new, except I don't really want to. This stuff is far superior to the replacement parts. The only problem is it's 60 years old almost, and part of it's locked down, part of it's not, part of it won't grease, part of it might. Any parts I can get off this car will more than likely outlast anything new I could put on mine. So that's the reason that I'm taking all this stuff off. As backwards as it might be, that's the reason. Now I'm going to go and get something to try to pry those 2 blocks out of that spring, and I'll show you that a little bit. And probably the last thing I'll do for today is oil down the throttle linkage, because I might need one of these days, who knows, and take the fan off, and I'm sure that's full of bees. So I want to check that heater core, and I want to clean it, and if it doesn't leak, I might actually end up using it for my car. But I want to say that there's a difference. I can't remember, I'd have to look at my old heater core, but I think there's a difference between a Malibu heater core, you know, small block heater core, and a big block heater core. I think it has something to do with the angle that the pipes come out of the firewall. I'm not sure on that. It was one of the cars I messed with that was a difference, but I don't remember if it's a 67 or a 70. But either way. Oh, and so 1971, Dad paid 20 bucks for this car. He bought it as a parts car for his blue car. It was a complete body, minus engine and transmission. It was lightly wrecked. Lightly, I mean, it was enough to bend the frame. Right there. Right there. But it was, you know, lightly wrecked, and it could have been fixed. But it was a Malibu, and it was a $20 car. Why would you pay a body shop $100 or whatever to pull the frame down on something when you could buy another body for less than that? So it was worthless. It was worth more dead than alive, and that's exactly what Dad did. The seats that were in his car came from this car. The driver's fender and radiator support came from this car. Well, I think the driver's fender and some other parts. He used the absolute best he had out of 3 or 4 cars to build one. And that's what this was. This car was the parts car to the Blue Goose, and it ended up being the parts car to mine. This one, like I mentioned, I think earlier, the back half of the frame, the wheel wells, the rear seat pan, one of the trunk drop-offs, all kinds of stuff came from this car to fix mine. Originally, the steering box was. Originally, the front bumper brackets were. I found better ones later because these were all bent, and I found better ones later. But originally, the steering box and stuff was on my car off of this one. The steering box on my car now is off the red one, the red 67. I've always just kind of used the best that we had out here, but really none of the stuff out here is really any good. But it's better than nothing, and that's the main reason I'm saving all of this. I came in here for a few minutes because it's hot outside, very hot, and well, I don't know what the humidity is, but it's somewhere around 100%. And everything's wet, hot, and bees, and this. I hate bees. Really, if it wasn't for me needing some of that stuff, I wouldn't take any of that off that car. But one thing I needed to mention, yeah, well, I didn't really need to mention it, but I wanted to, is Dad's 67, the Blue Goose, had bumper guards, bumperettes, whatever you want to call that. They came off that Malibu. The quarter panel on the driver's side came off that Malibu. Fenders, pieces, interior, anything that was better on that Malibu at that time went to his blue car. It was kind of neat to me to be able to, 50 years later, use the same car to build mine back with. Given 50 years earlier, all that stuff would have been in really good shape. 50 years later, I was lucky that it still existed, because really, Dad should have hauled that stuff to the foundry. It should have been gone. The car was still here. So to be able to build a car with the same parts that your dad built a car with was pretty cool. And I'm glad I got to do that. I was very lucky in that whole 67 project that Dad kept all that. Because if it hadn't have been for that, that car wouldn't have been fixable. And honestly, if it hadn't have been for that, him keeping everything, it would have been gone anyway. He would have never kept it, you know. So, thankfully, he kept stuff. So, I know this video is a little different for me. I don't normally make them this long. I really do not like being on camera. It is very hard to keep looking at the phone. It is hard to talk to yourself. Well, I mean, I prefer to be behind the camera because, well, I'd never stand up in class. And just, I don't like public speaking. I didn't like public speaking when it was like 20 people. There's, you know, some of my videos have something like 10,000, 12,000 views. That's quite a bit more people than 20. But we're trying to do better here on Blue Goose Garage, and it's just difficult. But it is what it is. So I'm going to, like I said a second ago, try to get some spacers out of the other spring. And I figure I'll show you this. You're supposed to take a, well, they don't make these anymore to my knowledge, but you're supposed to take a extension or something and roll that in. But it's a lot easier to roll it in than it is to get it back out, because this piece hooks on your, well, we'll pretend this is a spring. This piece hooks on your spring, and you lift it in, and when it gets in, there's a lip here. Well, you have to get it back off the lip. Probably have that spring come flying out of here in a minute when I break that shock. Well, you can see how that's going to go. I'll be back in a second. I got them off. I don't know if you can hear it. It's thundering a little bit. It's going to rain. I got them out. I probably won't get those control arms. It really depends. But this is the one that fought me so hard. See, that lip catches under the spring. And between that and the fact that it rested in to it, I had a hard time getting it to cam out. But when it did, it popped out. So I have one pair of those, and 1, 2, 3 pairs of those. So that's a inch lift, and that's a 2-inch lift. I'm pretty much calling it for today. I'll get up here and take some more stuff off this, but I wanted to go ahead and post this video in case there's anybody on here that happens to watch this today and they need something, knick-knack or something off that car. Somebody local to me, if you see something that I'm not going to take off that you need, I'd probably give it to you. I know there was somebody on here needing some dash braces. I don't know if they're still on here or not, but or happens to see this in time. But if you still need any dash braces, you need to let me know, because this car has them. I may take those off anyway, but It just depends. The problem is with taking anything off the inside of this car is you start disturbing things, red wasps are everywhere. And I don't like them. So, anyway, if you need anything off this in your local, you've got until Monday. Yeah. So, anyway, I'll see you in a day or two. I'll make another video. This can be a 2-part video. Bye.